You think a new drug goes through 3 phases, but here's what nobody tells you. The phases aren't the hard part, it's the gates between them. First, the IND gate, then phase 1. Is it safe? Phase 2, does it work? Phase 3, prove it. And then the final wall, the FDA itself. Clear every single one of those gates, and only about 1 in 10 drugs survives. 1. That number is the most important number in this whole industry. Watch the funnel. 100 start phase 1, about 52 reach phase 2, only 15 reach phase 3, and maybe 8 ever get approved. So before the science, why should you care? Think about a shopkeeper. Call him Raju. Before he stocks one new chocolate, he watches his shop. How many customers walk in? How many even want chocolate? That's forecasting, and a giant pharma company does the exact same thing, just with a molecule instead of a chocolate and billions on the line. And here's what most people miss. The biggest thing a company looks at is where the drug sits in this pipeline. A molecule in phase 1 is a long shot. The same molecule past phase 3 is almost a sure thing. That probability is the number every team builds around. R&D, commercial, finance, regulatory, and strategy. Let me be honest about why this is personal. Early in my career, I built a beautiful forecast for a drug everyone was excited about. Then it missed its phase 2 endpoint. And overnight, weeks of my work were worth 0. That's when it hit me. The gate matters more than the model, so let's start before any human takes the drug. First, years in the lab and animal studies. Preclinical. Then the company files an IND, the dossier with the safety data and the exact trial plan. And the FDA gets 30 days to read it and say stop, or go. No IND, no humans. Phase 1 is the very first time the drug touches a human. And it's tiny, usually just 20 to 80 people. Here's the surprise. They're not patients. They're healthy volunteers. Because phase 1 isn't asking does it work. It's asking one thing. Is it safe? So they start with a microscopic dose and slowly escalate. If it's safe, we move to phase 2. And now, real patients with the disease. This is the moment of truth. Does it actually work? And honestly, this is where most drugs die. Out of everything that reaches phase 2, only about 1 in 3 moves forward. Insiders literally call it the graveyard. Survive phase 2 and you hit phase 3, the giant one. Hundreds to thousands of patients, randomized, blinded, often across 40 countries at once. The whole job is to prove, beyond any doubt, that it works, and the benefit beats the risk. About 6 in 10 that get here succeed. Now the most important idea in this whole video, the endpoint. A clinical endpoint is what actually matters to a patient. Do they live longer? Do they feel better? A surrogate endpoint is just a stand-in. A tumor that shrinks, a number on a test that we hope predicts the real benefit. Remember that difference. It comes back to bite us. And the whole time 2 groups are watching. The ethics board, the IRB, protects the people in the trial. And the data safety board, the DSMB, secretly watches the unblinded data and can stop the entire trial overnight. For harm, for futility, or if it's working so well that a placebo becomes unethical. But stopping early because it looks great is dangerous. In a famous heart failure trial called CHARM, the drug looked like it cut deaths by 24%, enough to stop. The board held its nerve, and as more data came in, that dramatic effect faded until it wasn't even statistically significant. Say the drug clears phase 3, now it files for approval. And which door it takes depends on what it is. A small molecule pill files an NDA. A biologic, grown from living cells, like an antibody, files a BLA, same goal, different path. Then the FDA review. First they decide if the application is even complete. If not, a refuse to file and you've lost months. Once accepted, the clock starts. About 10 months standard, or 6 under priority review. And an advisory committee of outside experts votes, but that vote is only advisory. Here's how real that is. In 2021, an Alzheimer's drug called Aduhelm went to its advisory committee. The experts voted 10-0 that the evidence didn't show it worked. The FDA approved it anyway, on a surrogate. 3 members resigned in protest. Now the FDA built 4 official shortcuts for serious diseases. Fast track, breakthrough therapy, accelerated approval, which lets a drug launch on a surrogate, with confirmatory trials owed later, and priority review, which shrinks the clock. Each one buys you time. When it works, it's incredible. Keytruda used 3 of those 4 lanes and reached patients in 2014, years early. But accelerated approval is a promise, not a guarantee. Avastin got approved for breast cancer in 2008 on a surrogate. And when the proof never came, the FDA pulled it in 2011. And approval isn't the finish line. The moment millions take the drug, rare side effects appear. So the company runs pharmacovigilance for the drug's whole life. The FDA can demand more studies, risky drugs get a REMS safety program, and the company keeps expanding the label, which is where a lot of the money actually comes from. So zoom all the way out. 100 drugs start phase 1. Only about 10 are approved, but they didn't drop out randomly. They dropped at specific gates, and every gate a drug clears, its odds jump, and its value jumps right along with it. That's what we mean when a molecule reprices at every gate. A forecaster takes the value if it succeeds and multiplies it by the probability it gets there. And that probability is built entirely out of these gates. Clear phase 2, and your number leaps. That's not paperwork, that's the job. So here's the whole map one more time. The IND gate, phase 1, safety, phase 2, the graveyard, phase 3, proof, and the FDA's final verdict. A dozen gates and only about 1 in 10 makes it all the way through. So next time you hear a drug got approved, remember the 9 that didn't. 1 in 10. That's not failure. That's how genuinely hard it is to put a safe, working medicine in someone's hands. And now you actually understand how it happens. I'll see you in the next one.